Okay, once you've put your resin in, what you want to do is you want to mix it with the methyl ethyl ketone peroxide or whatever catalyst you have. Read the instructions and make sure you're using it as per manufacturer specs. So yeah, this is 700, so I'm going to use 10.5 ml of the catalyst. Okay, so I'm going to put that in. Now what I'm going to do is mix the catalyst with the resin. So what's going to start happening is your mixture will start bubbling like this. So leave it for about 15 minutes for the bubbles to completely rise. This is what it's going to look like. Lots of air bubbles rising to the top. So we're going to wait for that to disappear. It's been 15 minutes, so our resin is looking good. No major air bubbling. You can take a look through the side view. No major air bubbling, so this will be. So we're ready to put this through our system. So what we'll do is we'll grab the resin pot. Grab our resin pot and put the feed hose through. Okay, might need to clamp this down. Hose is now submerged into the resin pot. Now that you are ready to do the resin infusion, make sure you have the this end here on the resin side is clamped off. What we're going to do is turn on the vacuum, and once this has fully vacuumed, we will then slowly undo this, and that's when the resin will start feeding through. Alrighty, so our system is now vacuumed off. What I'm going to do now is undo this line here, and the resin will slowly feed through. There we are. Ooh. And look at that. Observe how the resin feeds through the system. You don't want to fully undo this, you just want to start off slow and allow the resin to just feed through the whole system. Hey Nando.
What's going on there?
Yeah, that's a bit of, it must be some air pockets in here somewhere. But that's okay.
That's wicked. Look at it go.
Okay, so the resin infusion process is going well. We do have some air pockets on the inside of the bag here, which is why there is some air coming through here. This is not ideal, but for the sake of this run through, I will have to accept this. So the way this could have been avoided is by perhaps moving the bag around a bit more when doing the vacuum tests to get rid of these air pockets. It'll be a lot of air in here. This is where the air is coming from. So now that the resin has distributed across the component, what I'm going to do is switch off I'm going to close the feed line here. And now that I've closed that, I'm going to wait about 10 seconds. So another 10 seconds, there we go. Now this is blocked off. Now I'm going to turn off the pump. And the first thing you want to do once you have finished is clean your resin trap and remove any hoses that have resin in it and clean them out if you want to reuse them. Alright, so the system has all been switched off. I've clamped off these lines here. What I'm going to do is cut off some of these lines here. But the first thing I want to do is take this apart and clean it. So, whoa. There is a lot of resin in here, as you can see. So we want to clean this all out and clean the inside of this as well. Okay, so I've cut off this line here. What I'll do is I'll take this all apart and clean this apart as well. Catch can's been cleaned as well. Take that apart and get rid of any resin that's in there if you can. So for the remaining resin in here, what you could do is transfer this into, just put some vac bag in another cup or something and just put all of the resin in there, because this resin is going to harden, which you don't want to do inside one of these if you want to reuse the cup. Right, so hoses have been cut off. They're still clamped, of course. Leave these clamped until you take your system apart to get the component out. So what I've done here is I've just gotten the vacuum bag. I've just transferred the resin into here. So when this hardens, I can just take this out and throw it in the bin. So yeah, I've cleaned this up a little bit as well. Yep, oil catch can, resin trap, whatever you have, make sure that that's been cleaned up as well. So what I'll do now is I'm going to move this into a secure location. I'm just going to move it in here and leave it over the weekend and come back to it and see what the result is. Okay, so once your component has fully cured, it's ready to... Okay, so once your component has fully cured, now it is time to take off the vacuum bag and the gum tape and extract the component. Okay, so once you've taken off the vacuum bagging, now it's time to remove it from the mold. Get a plastic scraper so you don't damage the mold, and just try and get underneath your component and gently pry it off. And one thing I forgot, make sure you remove your spiral tubing and silicone connectors. I should have done that first. So these are reusable. Look at that. That surface finish isn't too bad actually. So this is one layer of carbon. Not sure if you could see that, but there's quite a bit of a gap in there. Like I could see through it almost. But there you have it. That is how you make a component using Resin Infusion. What you need to do now is separate the flow media and peel ply from the actual component. So that's what I'll be doing now. I've almost removed everything. Just going to remove this one last piece here. And voila. There we have it. Just be careful when you're taking it apart because you could end up ripping it in some places. I wasn't careful here. What needs to be done now is just give it a wipe down with a wet rag just to remove any excess release agent. I've just cleaned this up with a wet rag. It's still a bit wet, but as you can see, the surface finish is pretty good.